Hello, Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, also the host of We Need to Talk on every Sunday at noon on YouTube, and then I post everything up to Facebook, same name. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. If you feel you need a therapist, please go to Google, type in therapy, your city, Psychology Today will pop up, click on that, and it will have qualified therapists in your area. Also, the views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other damn therapist for that matter. Boom, shakalaka, done. Okay. Wanted to get to all of the questions because I have time this morning. So one of the first ones was, I feel bad. My partner seems to be doing perfectly fine without me. He was abusive, and now that I've gone, he seems perfectly okay. I keep obsessing on the fact that he may be happier with somebody else, and that maybe he could just change. Maybe I'm the one that caused him to be abusive. All of my therapists are telling me that this is nonsense, and but he seems to be fine without me. So here's the deal, guys. Narcissists, we have no more meaning to a narcissist than this emery board. Seriously, we are an object to be used, and they love to put on a front of how great everything is once their target of abuse leaves, because they want to make sure that they know that you know that they know that you know that they're doing fine without you, which is a load of crap. If they were abusive with you, they will be abusive with somebody else. So hang on just a second. So it's no longer about them. You got to let that go. So if the therapists are telling you it's a load of crap, guess what? It's a load of crap. Let it go. It doesn't matter whether he's okay without you or not. It doesn't. You're not the abuser. You're not the problem. So now is the time to focus in on you. Focus in on you. Be happy with you. Work on the self-esteem. Work on the boundaries. Self-esteem workbook by Glenn Schiraldi. The Boundaries with the Disease to Please by Harriet Breaker. Or Codependent No More by Melanie Beattie. Or anything by PM Melody. You know, it's like there's a ton of books out there on codependency. Work on you. It is now no longer about your ex. It isn't. And every single time you try to make it about your ex or you focus in on your ex, what you're doing is you're stimulating the endorphins, the dopamine, serotonins. You're bringing up those feel-good chemicals because you're trying to get high again. Because we are addicted to them because of the intermittent positive rewards. Not because of the abuse, but because of the intermittent positive rewards. So every single time your brain goes back to, oh, but them. Oh, but them. You got to, look at that thought. Oh, look, there's a pink elephant taking a shit in the corner of the living room. Wow. Fascinating pink elephant. I'm not inviting it in for coffee. I'm also not going to resist it. Okay, pink elephant, which is my ex. It's not about you anymore. Sorry. Bye-bye. Right when you find work. Bye-bye. And you let it go. Okay? So I hope that helps. It's not your job to fix them. And if you think it's your job to fix them, that is called codependency. So get with a damn good therapist that understands codependency to help you break through that. Start reading the books that I recommend. Okay, question. I kicked my covert narc spouse out 3 weeks ago. My middle daughter, 10 years old, was the scapegoat. How do I begin to heal her? I've been trying to find a good self-esteem workbook for her age. There are a ton of really good self-esteem workbooks. You just put in, self-esteem workbooks for 10-year-olds and it will pop up on Amazon, all sorts of self-esteem workbooks. You're going to model self-esteem. This is the thing. It's like kids watch us. So you want your kid to have self-esteem, you got to have self-esteem. So the Self-Esteem Workbook by Glenn Schiraldi, You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. Any and all would be good. You start doing mirror work. You teach her mirror work. Hi, good to see you. Have a wonderful day. I give you permission to like yourself, and then walk out. And you model good self-esteem. That's how kids learn, is by watching us. If our children don't have good self-esteem, it's because we don't have good self-esteem. So it's really important that you work on you and she works on her, and the two of you work on each other, and you keep going. Get her a good therapist. Get her into a good play therapist. That will help immensely. She needs a safe place to vent. So there's that. My parents complained about my younger sister and how difficult she was. Yet at family events, I was called the naughty cousins by aunts and uncles. Was I being smeared longer than I knew? What does your gut tell you? Yeah. Yeah. If other family members are calling you names, then you kind of got to be like, I'm sorry, where's that coming from? Who told you that? That kind of thing. So trust your gut. Trust your gut. Trust your gut. Okay. At family gatherings, my sister and her husband gave me insults that they then ignore and compete with me. I told my mother, and she takes her side and gaslights me. My mother and my sister seem jealous. So remember, narcissists are always in competition. Always. There isn't a time when they're not in competition. They are always in competition. They're always jealous. They're never happy with what they have. It's like they could have a fabulous house, but if somebody else has a house that's bigger, newer, better, whatever, they'll suddenly become disengaged or disinterested in their own house and they want to go buy a bigger, better house. Or if somebody buys a bigger, better car or truck, suddenly they want that or something better than that. So it's always a competition with them. So trust your gut. If a child is playing with Barbie dolls and the storylines always involve sex, affairs, threesomes, etc., is this indicative of abuse, or is it possibly from watching adult TV shows? Well, either or. So children play act what they see, okay? Because they're trying to process it. That's how kids do it. This is why the Body Keeps Score and the Inner Child Workbook, Body Keeps Score by Bessel van der Kolk and the Inner Child Workbook are so important, because we as children, when we're children, we don't process things cognitively. We process things physically. So, for example, when I was working in the at the Dougy Center up in Portland, which is a children's grief clinic, you would be discussing grief with the kids, and explaining to them what death is and all of that. And they would go, uh-huh, and then they'd want to go play really hard. Like either physical, or they would do dolls, or they would, whatever, and they try to work things through. We had sand trays that they could reenact the funeral, so that they could rebury the body and try to process all of that. And so kids do play act out what they are seeing, whether that is actual abuse or whether that is just inappropriate stuff they should not be seeing on television. So yeah, it could be either or. So that is something to keep your eye on, and you might want to ask. It's like, where did you see all of this? Where did you hear all of this? And sometimes they'll just point blank come out and go, oh, I saw it on TV. It's like, oh, okay, all right, so this is where that's happening. If you can, have a talk with the parents about, you may not want to be exposing your kid to the Kardashians or whatever the hell they're watching. So, age-appropriate stuff. And that's the thing I see a lot in abusive, neglectful families, is they use the television as a babysitter. And then this child is sat in front of this, television and listening to all of this stuff that is way beyond their cognitive comprehension. So no bueno. So yeah, that's absolutely something to keep your eye on. My whole family is literally abusive and toxic. I know why I have been working so hard over the years to get better and why they haven't. Yeah. Here's the thing, guys. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Abusers don't change. Abusers don't seem to think that they have a problem. They're not introspective. They don't sit there and go, what is my part in this? They never do that. They never do that. That's why when I have people sit on my couch and they're like, oh my God, I was raised by this, that, and the other thing, and I'm so afraid I'm a narcissist. It's like, you're not. You got fleas we got to work on, but you're not a narcissist. If you're afraid of being a narcissist, you are not a narcissist. Because narcissists aren't afraid of being a narcissist. I can't tell you the number of times I've actually had them say things like, well, I'm a narcissist, but, and it's like, there's no but in that sentence. So, anyway, yeah. So they don't work on themselves. They don't get better. They just don't. They refuse. So anyone who refuses to work on themselves, Houston, there is a problem. So there's that. It was like a Roman circus. We were gaslighted and made to fight each other. Brother was the golden child. I was scapegoat. But I'm scared I still had fleas, and I'm looking for a real therapist. What to do? Okay. So when we come out of one of these incredibly dysfunctional families, and we have fleas, right, and we're aware of it, it's time to get with a good trauma therapist. So you want a therapist, and it doesn't really matter what their modality is, as long as they understand narcissistic abuse, as long as they understand dysfunctional family systems, okay? So DBT is great. I love DBT. CBT, which is what I do, is also a good one. EFT, emotional freedom therapy. Some people like it, some people don't. EMDR, same thing. Some people like it, some people don't. You just got to try to find a really good trauma therapist and start working on the fleas. What are the behaviors you want to get rid of? That might be some place to start. It's like, what are you seeing in yourself that your family did that you're like, oh, no, thank you. So yeah. That's the place to start. So you look for a good trauma therapist, you look at those different modalities, you read up on them, see if one of them feels right to you. Some people are very into the DBT, some people like the EFT. I had one client that absolutely adored EFT. It was like, he was like, okay, I've gone as far as I can go cognitively. What else do you recommend? I said, okay, EFT. Boom, went off and did EFT, loved it, really made some progress with that. So it's what works. It's what works. So whatever works for you, whatever you resonate with, do it. So just find a good trauma therapist. Okay, and you can find those on psychologytoday.com. So that's mostly where most therapists go to post their listing. So, okay. Okay, how do you deal with a conversational narcissist who answers on behalf of people and constantly intrudes conversations? Well, it depends on how much confrontation you want to have. Sometimes what I do, well, not sometimes, all the time what I do, especially when I'm working with couples, I literally have to tell the other person to shut the fuck up. Like, I'm sorry, you're interrupting again. I'm sorry, you're interrupting again. And usually the narcissist will just spin out of control and at that point start screaming and storm out of the room, at which point I then get the chance to quietly tell this person you're in danger, you might want to consider getting out of this relationship, So yeah. So narcissists don't like being held accountable, and you can call them out. You can be like, I'm sorry, somebody else was talking. I'm sorry, I know your opinion. I want to hear theirs, but realize the narcissist is not going to like that, and they're going to try to punish you, or they're going to try to control the situation. And when narcissists cannot punish or control, that's when they go storming out. So just be aware. But yeah, that's what I do. It's like when people get interrupted, it drives me crazy. It does, because it's like that's a sign of disrespect. Not allowing somebody to finish their sentence is a sign of disrespect. So that's a deal breaker right there. I'm going to be talking about that on Sunday. Okay. Question. My parents defend my adult narcissist brother and make excuses for him. He's abusive towards them, and I worry, but I feel there's nothing I can do as they let him get away with it. Any advice? Look, once you have informed your parents of your concerns, at that point, you are free and clear because you've done due diligence. You've said, hey, mom, dad, I am concerned. This is what I'm seeing. I also see that you allow it. I'm aware that you're allowing it. You're aware that you're allowing it. I'm concerned. There's my concerns. You need to do something. And then you're done. So it's really frustrating because oftentimes the parent will get called out for making excuses for the abuser by the adult child, like, family session. And the adult and the parent will be like, oh yeah, I know I'm doing it. Oh yeah, I'm not going to change that. Okay. Well, you're not going to have a relationship with this kid, dumbass. Anyway, yeah, it's frustrating because some parents are just more wrapped up in their own guilt, their own, oh my gosh, if I just do this, they'll be better. If I just twist myself into a pretzel, they'll be better. If I just, and they're making it's their ego. It's their ego, because a healthy person that does not have an ego is able to go, ooh, yeah, I'm not going to make excuses for my own child anymore, because otherwise they make it about them. So, yeah, all you can do is vocalize your concerns and then walk the fuck away. Okay, why do I miss them? How do I stop? I don't want to anymore. It's too heartbreaking. I've already gone no contact. So here's the deal, guys. Again, I mentioned this earlier when I talked about that other question. We are addicted to their intermittent positive rewards. We literally get addicted to them, not to the abuse. We get addicted to those times when they are kind to us. So I love you, I hate you, I love you, I hate you. That's intermittent positive rewards, right? So our brain, just like a drug addict, just like having drug dreams, seriously. So when we quit something that's bad for us, just like a drug addict, we have drug dreams, we have alcohol dreams, we have, we have all these dreams, about it. Why? Because our brain is going, wait a minute, this thing was so important to us and now it's gone. What the fuck? And it's trying to also stimulate the endorphins, dopamine, serotonins, all the feel-good chemicals so that we can recreate those feel-good times. Drug addict, addicted to intermittent positive rewards. So when your abuser pops up, again, just like the pink elephant taking a shit in the corner of the living room, you don't want to resist it. But you also don't want to invite it in for coffee because it'll stay for breakfast. So you go, oh, there's the thought about the abuser. There's the pink elephant. Okay, I see you. I hear you. Boy, my brain really wants to get high off of the thought of you, but then it crashes into hope, despair, same coin. You can't live in that. It's torturous and painful. So, okay, I see you thought. I'm not going to resist you. Yeah, I would love to think about my ex. And, because it's an and world, and I'm not inviting you in for coffee right when you get work. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. 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 Do you see where I'm going with that? So that is what you want to do. It's thought stopping. It's thought stopping. You write down a list of every rotten thing that your abuser has ever done to you. You write up a list of your deal breakers. What are your deal breakers? Which is what I'm going to be talking about on Sunday, because apparently people are like, I don't understand. I don't know what a deal breaker is. And it's also because we haven't had that modeling. So I want to talk about what are good deal breakers and why. So you write out your list of deal breakers. You write out every rotten thing they've done. How many of your deal breakers did they cross over? Did they lie to you? Did they cheat? Did they steal? Did they gaslight? Did they rewrite history? Did they isolate you from your family and friends? Did they take away every hobby that you enjoyed? Did they make sure that you could not be successful no matter what you did? Do you see where I'm going with that? So it's normal to have those thoughts. It's just like with a drug addict that dreams about their drug. It doesn't mean you need to go back to them. Oh, sweet baby Jesus, no. What it means is your brain is trying to recreate the endorphins, dopamine, serotonin, that high that we got from the intermittent positive rewards. Okay, so you don't resist it, but you don't let it in. Don't resist it, but don't let it in. Acknowledge it, validate it, but send it on its way. All right. I've recently been reunited with my brother who ran away, same as I, much later, when I was very young from our toxic family. What do you recommend? I recommend counseling. I recommend reading all of the books, both of you, that I have recommended so that everybody's on the same page. I would get with a good trauma therapist to do trauma, family trauma. Yeah, you betcha. Get with a good trauma therapist and start rebuilding and repairing that relationship. If this person is willing to work on themselves, you're good to go. If they're just either a flying monkey or they are a narcissist or an abuser in any way, shape, or form themselves, then you'll know. And you'll be done. So yeah, get with a good trauma therapist and start reading all of the books together. Seriously, it's something you guys can do together. CPTSD, From Surviving to Thriving by Pete Walker. Inner Child Workbook by Catherine Taylor. The Body Keeps Score by Bessel van de Kolk. The Disease to Please, Harriet Breaker. Who's Pulling Your Strings, Harriet Breaker. Object of My Affection is in My Reflection, Coping with a Narcissist by Raquel Lerner. Tons of books. They're all listed on my notes section on Facebook. So just go there, click on notes, and that will pop up. Okay. Yeah, therapy. Therapy would be good. My mother is a narcissist. My younger sister has borderline. I am the golden child. Her daughter is the new golden child and is an evil adult and drawn a wedge with my father and me. I want a relationship with my dad. Well, here's the thing. You may be able to have a bit of a relationship with your dad, but if your dad is believing the worst of you, that is not your tribe. So anybody who draws a wedge between somebody and somebody else is attempting to isolate. So she's shown you who she is. And all you can do is let your dad know that you love him and you're there and here's your number and call you, And other than that, if he's willing to believe her bullshit, then you walk the fuck away because that's not your tribe. So... sorry, but yeah. Okay. My friend's son has tried to kill himself because he abused his ex-girlfriend and he went to a psychologist who didn't do much. He feels he's a monster and wants to die. What therapy would help him? The only known modality for personality disorders is DBT. And it would take a year-long program or a year-and-a-half-long program of individual and group therapy. So 1 session a week individual, 1 session a week group, and they alternate back and forth. And he has to be committed to it. In other words, he has to be willing to work on his shit. And if he's narcissistic, then all the therapy in the world is not going to make a bit of difference. But if he's committed and he's got fleas or he's got whatever, it can be worked on. If he's a psychopath, if he's a narcissist, no. But if he's willing to work on it, or he only has traits of, then yeah, he can work on it. So DBT, year-and-a-half long program, that's the only thing that works. So there's that. Boop, 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 boop. Okay. How do I find the right therapist? There are so many and most don't appeal to me. I have done several videos on that, so check my catalog of videos. I think it's titled Finding a Therapist, I think is the name of it. Basically, you interview the living crap out of them the same way that a therapist kind of tells you about themselves and asks about you and things like that to make sure you're a good fit. So basically, you got to figure out what modality do you need? What works for you? Check out the different modalities. So psychology modalities, it'll pop up all of the different modalities. I mean, there's literally hundreds, if not thousands, of modalities to do. The most effective one is CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. However, DBT is the only one that works with personality disorders. EFT is great for trauma. EMDR is great for trauma. Some people don't like it though. Some people like one or the other, or they prefer talk therapy as opposed to the tapping or the rapid eye movement. So you gotta do your research and see what speaks to you. Some people like Gestalt. Some people like the empty chair therapy. Some people like psychoanalysis, which Freud. I don't like Freud. So, you know, there's all sorts of different modalities. So you got to investigate what you think is going to work for you. You figure out what kind of therapy you are looking for. Are you looking for trauma therapy? Are you looking for family systems therapy? Are you looking for couples counseling? Are you looking for individual? Are you looking, you know, what is it that you're working on? And then start interviewing the therapists that are fitting that criteria of what you need. So that's the best thing. But do go watch my video on how to pick a therapist. Okay. How do I deal with siblings who think that mom is a saint / victim? She's narcissistic and borderline. I'm the black sheep who called out her behavior and was shunned by my siblings. I'm now talking with the youngest. You be honest. You be honest, and you do not allow them to gaslight you. So in other words, when you're talking with this other sibling, you be honest. It's like, this is my experience of mom. This is what happened to me. And sometimes what will happen is if the sibling is like in denial still or can't cope or doesn't want to cope with it. No, that never happened. You misheard her. You did it. Stop right there. I know what I went through. That's gaslighting. They're trying to gaslight you. So don't allow gaslighting. Don't allow rewriting of history. You stick to your guns, you know what you know, and you be open and honest. Get a good therapist to help you talk with them, because they're probably going to need help. So yeah, absolutely. Can someone who is really evil have human feelings? No. What they do is they mimic human emotions. So for example, let's use Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy was an absolute crazy psychopath, okay? I mean, antisocial till the cows come home, okay? He could mimic human behavior. He could mimic emotions. But if you ever watch interviews with him, nothing ever reaches his eyes. Their lights are on, engine is running, and there is no one home. Except this cold, calculating, reading the room, trying to figure out how to manipulate, how to control, how to be on top. It's creepy. If you watch any interview, oh God, any interview with any psychopath or, you know, whatever, antisocial, it never reaches their eyes. It never reaches their eyes. So it's a, what is it called? A Duchenne smile. So like they smile. So normally when we smile, right, it reaches our eyes because we're happy. So like, oh my God, puppies and kittens. That's awesome. I love puppies and kittens. But when you're dealing, I'm not even sure I can do this. When you're dealing with a psychopath, it's like, it doesn't reach the eyes. There's no real joy. Does that make sense? It's like, they smile, but it's not real. I don't even know how to explain it, but when you see it, you fucking know it, and then you want to go take a shower because you feel like you've been slimed. So there's the psychopath stare as well. What I see psychopaths doing is they will read the room and they will start mimicking the appropriate emotion, but it never reaches their eyes. You can just tell. You can just fucking tell. It is the creepiest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. When I worked at the homeless shelter, I saw that a lot. There was one guy there that was a serial rapist, and yeah, he would he would say all the right things, and he was extremely charming. And I'll tell you what, I told my coworker, my peer support, I was like, Rocky, don't you leave me alone in the room with him, because I'll tell you what, the second any of us turn our back on him, we're good as dead. So yeah, it was creepy. So anyway, I hope that answered all the questions. This week, I'm doing the Q&A a little early this week because I actually have time today. So this coming week on Sunday, I want to discuss more about what are deal breakers, what is respect, what will you not or should not put up with in any relationship. And I want to go like deeper than just listing them out, because people are giving me examples and going, well, is this a deal breaker? And I'm like, yes, oh my God, yes. But realize we didn't have role models to show us what respect was and what respect wasn't. We had abuse, but we didn't have good role models showing us what was respect and what wasn't respect. So I want to go deeper into that. What are things that are signs of disrespect? What are the things that we should be on the lookout for? That kind of thing. So these are all needing to be deal breakers. So start your list. If you have any questions on, is this a deal breaker, send it in, because, you know, I can put that on and answer that during the show. So, all right, so Sunday is going to be on deal breakers. Let's get specific here. What is a deal breaker? What isn't a deal breaker? What do we need to look for, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All right, kids, have a great week. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. Please do continue to do social distancing and washing your hands, because the numbers are now going up in Arizona and we're now being called Coronazona. Yay. Yay. Anyway, that's it. All right, kids, have a good week. Love you. Be good. Talk to you later. Bye.